Steinberg Cubase 12 Pro. We start lesson 19. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, so as not to miss new videos. And we start lesson 19. Recording. In Cubase, you can record audio and MIDI. Make the following initial preparations. Set up, connect, and calibrate your audio hardware. Open a project and set up the parameters in the project setup dialog according to your specifications. The parameters in the project setup dialog determine the record file format, sample rate, project duration, etc. that affect the audio recordings that you make during the course of the project. If you plan to record MIDI, set up and connect your MIDI equipment. Related links. Setting up audio. Setting up MIDI. Setting up a metronome click pattern. On-screen keyboard options. Basic recording methods. Basic recording methods. The basic recording methods apply to audio and MIDI recordings. Recording. Record enabling tracks. Record enabling tracks. To be able to record, you must record enable the tracks on which you want to record. Procedure. Do one of the following. Activate record enable in the track list. Activate record enable in the MixConsole. Select the track that you want to record enable, and activate record enable in the inspector. Result. The tracks are record enabled. Note. If you set up a key command for activate record enable for all audio tracks in the mixer category of the key commands dialog, you can record enable all audio tracks simultaneously. The exact number of audio tracks that you can record simultaneously depends on your computer CPU and hard disk performance. Activate the Warn on Processing Overloads option in the Preferences dialog, VST page, to show a warning message as soon as the processing overload indicator lights up during recording. Related links. Editing, Project and MixConsole. VST. Basic recording methods. Record enabling tracks on selection. Record enabling tracks on selection. You can set up a preference so that tracks are record enabled when you select them. Procedure. Select Edit Preferences. Open the Editing, Project and MixConsole page and activate Enable Record on selected audio track or Enable Record on selected MIDI track. Result. The tracks are record enabled when you select them. Record enabling tracks. Activating recording manually. Activating recording manually. You can activate recording manually. Procedure. Do one of the following. Click Record on the Transport panel, on the toolbar, or in the Transport bar. Press number star. Result. Recording starts from the current cursor position. Note. When you start recording in stop mode, you can start recording from the left locator. For this to work, you must select Transport Common Record Modes and activate Start Record at left locator/punch in position. The pre-roll setting or the metronome count-in will be applied. Record enabling tracks on selection. Activating recording automatically. Activating recording automatically. Cubase can automatically switch from playback to recording at a given position. This is useful if you must replace a section of a recording and want to listen to what is already recorded up to the recording start position. Procedure. Set the left locator to the position where you want to start recording. If you want to set up the punch points independently from the locators, deactivate lock punch points to locators on the transport panel, and set up the punch in and punch out positions in the value fields to the right. Activate punch in on the transport panel. Activate playback from any position before the left locator. Result. If you have unlocked the punch positions from the locator positions, recording is automatically activated when the project cursor reaches the punch in position. If cycle mode is activated, the punch-in point corresponds to the left locator position, and the punch-out point is positioned before the right locator. Recording is stopped at the punch-out position and resumed at the punch-in position. If the punch positions are locked to the locators, recording is automatically activated when the project cursor reaches the left locator. Related links. Punch-in and punch-out. Activating recording manually. Stopping recording. Stopping recording. You can stop recording manually. Procedure. Do one of the following. Click Stop on the transport panel. Press number star. Result. Recording stops while playback continues. Activating recording automatically. Stopping recording automatically with punch out. Stopping recording automatically with punch out. Activating punch out allows you to stop recording automatically at the defined punch out position. Procedure. Activate punch out on the transport panel. Result. Recording stops automatically when the project cursor reaches the punch out position. Playback continues. Note. If you have unlocked the punch positions from the locator positions, recording is automatically stopped when the project cursor reaches the punch-out position. Note. If cycle mode is activated, the punch-in point is set after the left locator, and the punch-out point corresponds to the right locator. Recording is started at the punch-in position, stopped at the punch-out position, and resumed at the punch-in position. Related links. Punch-in and punch-out. Stopping recording. Stopping recording and playback. Stopping recording and playback. You can manually stop recording and playback. Procedure. Do one of the following. Click Stop on the transport panel. Press number 0. Result. Recording and playback stops. Stopping recording automatically with punch-out. Cycle recording. Cycle recording. You can record in a cycle, that is, you can record a selected section repeatedly and seamlessly. Prerequisite. A cycle is set up with the left and right locators. Procedure. Click Activate Cycle on the transport panel to activate cycle mode. Activate recording from the left locator, before or within the cycle. As soon as the project cursor reaches the right locator, it jumps back to the left locator and continues recording a new lap. Result. The results of cycle recording depend on the selected record mode. They also differ for audio and MIDI. Related links. Left and right locators. MIDI recording. Audio recording. Stopping recording and playback. Using pre-roll and post-roll. Using pre-roll and post-roll. You can set up a pre-roll and a post-roll for recording. Prerequisite. Activate stop after automatic punch out in the preferences dialog, record page. Procedure. Set the locators to where you want to start and end recording. On the transport panel, activate punch in and punch out. Activate pre-roll and post-roll. Specify a pre-roll amount and a post-roll amount. Click record. Result. The project cursor rolls back and starts playback at the time that has been set as pre-roll amount. When the cursor reaches the left locator, recording is automatically activated. When the cursor reaches the right locator, recording is deactivated, and playback continues for the time that has been set as post-roll amount. Cycle recording. Common record modes menu. Common record modes menu. The common record modes determine what happens if you click record during an audio or MIDI recording. To access the record modes, select Transport Common Record Modes. You can also access the common record modes by clicking the upper part of the record modes section on the transport panel. Punch in/out. In this mode, the recording is stopped. Re-record. In this mode, the recording is reinitiated, the events are removed, and recording is restarted from the exact same position. Start recording at project cursor position. In this mode, recording starts from the cursor position. Start recording at left locator/punch in position. In this mode, recording starts from the left locator. Related links. Transport menu. Transport panel sections. Using pre-roll and post-roll. Re-recording. Re-recording. If you activate the re-record mode, you can reinitiate your recording by hitting the record button again. Recording will restart from the initial position. Procedure. Select Transport Common Record Modes, and activate re-record. Activate recording. Click record again to restart recording. Result. The project cursor jumps back to the record start position, and recording is reinitiated. Pre-roll and counting settings are taken into account. Note. The previous recordings are removed from the project and cannot be retrieved using undo. However, they remain in the pool. Common Record Modes menu. Monitoring. Monitoring. In Cubase, monitoring means listening to the input signal while preparing to record or while recording. The following ways of monitoring are available. Via Cubase. Externally by listening to the signal before it reaches Cubase. By using ASIO direct monitoring. This is a combination of both other methods. Re-recording. Monitoring via Cubase. Monitoring via Cubase. If you use monitoring via Cubase, the input signal is mixed with the audio playback. This requires an audio hardware configuration with a low latency value. Procedure. In the track list, activate monitor. In the MixConsole, adjust the monitoring level and the panning. You can add effects and EQ to the monitor signal using the channel of the track. If you are using plugin effects with large inherent delays, the automatic delay compensation function in Cubase will increase the latency. If this is a problem, you can use the constrained delay compensation function while recording. In the Preferences dialog, select VST. Open the Auto Monitoring pop-up menu, and select the monitoring mode. Result. The monitored signal will be delayed according to the latency value, which depends on your audio hardware and drivers. You can check the latency of your hardware in the Studio Setup dialog, Audio System page. Related links. VST. Constrained delay compensation. Monitoring. External monitoring. External monitoring. External monitoring means listening to the input signal before it is sent into Cubase. It requires an external mixer for mixing the audio playback with the input signal. The latency value of the audio hardware configuration does not affect the monitor signal. When using external monitoring, you cannot control the level of the monitor signal from within Cubase or add VST effects or EQ to the monitor signal. Procedure. In the Preferences dialog, select VST. Open the Auto Monitoring pop-up menu and select Manual. Deactivate Monitor in Cubase. On your mixing desk or mixer application for your audio hardware, activate the through or direct through mode to send the input audio back out again. Monitoring via Cubase. ASIO direct monitoring. ASIO direct monitoring. If your audio hardware is ASIO 2.0 compatible, it may support ASIO direct monitoring. This feature may also be available for audio hardware with macOS drivers. In ASIO direct monitoring mode, the monitoring is done in the audio hardware, and monitoring is controlled via Cubase. The latency value of the audio hardware configuration does not affect the monitor signal when using ASIO direct monitoring. Procedure. In the track list, activate monitor. Select Studio as Studio Setup. In the Devices list, select your audio hardware driver, and activate direct monitoring. If the checkbox is grayed out, your audio hardware, or its driver, does not support ASIO direct monitoring. Consult the audio hardware manufacturer for details. In the Preferences dialog, select VST. Open the Auto Monitoring pop-up menu, and select a monitoring mode. In the MixConsole, adjust the monitoring level and panning. Depending on the audio hardware, this might not be possible. After completing this task, you can monitor the input levels of audio tracks. That is, you can map the input bus metering to monitor enabled audio tracks and watch the input levels of your audio tracks when working in the project window. Activate Map Input Bus Metering to Audio Track in Direct Monitoring in the Preferences dialog, Metering page. As the tracks are mirroring the input bus signal, you will see the same signal in both places. When using mapped metering, any functions that you apply to the audio track are not reflected in its meters. Note: with direct monitoring activated, direct routing cannot be used for routing destinations 2 to 8. Only the first bus can be used for direct monitoring. Related links: VST. External monitoring. Monitoring MIDI tracks. Monitoring MIDI tracks. You can monitor everything you play and record through the MIDI output and channel that are selected for the MIDI track. Prerequisite: local off is activated on your MIDI instrument. Procedure: in the Preferences dialog, select MIDI. Make sure MIDI through active is activated. In the track list, activate Monitor. Result: incoming MIDI is echoed back out again. Related links: MIDI. ASIO Direct Monitoring. Audio Recording Specifics. Audio Recording Specifics. Specific preparations and settings are required for audio recording. Monitoring MIDI tracks. Audio recording preparations. Audio recording preparations. Before you can record audio, you must make some preparations. Audio recording specifics. Selecting a record file format. Selecting a record file format. You can set up the record file format, that is, the sample rate, bit depth, and the record file type for new audio files. Procedure: select Project Setup. Set up the settings for sample rate, bit depth, and record file type. Important: the bit depth and the file type can be changed at any time, while the sample rate of a project cannot be changed at a later stage. Related links: creating new projects. Audio recording preparations. Setting the audio record folder. Setting the audio record folder. Each Cubase project has a project folder containing an audio folder. By default, this is where recorded audio files are stored. However, if needed, you can select record folders independently for each audio track. Procedure: in the track list, select all tracks to which you want to assign the same record folder. Right-click one of the tracks to open the context menu. Select Set Record Folder. In the File dialog, navigate to the folder that you want to use as the record folder or create a new folder by clicking New Folder. If you want separate folders for different types of material, speech, ambient sounds, music, etc., you can create subfolders within the project audio folder and assign different tracks to different subfolders. This way, all audio files still reside within the project folder, which makes managing the project easier. Selecting a record file format. Getting the track ready for recording. Getting the track ready for recording. Before you can record audio, you must add a track and set it up. Setting the audio record folder. Adding a track and setting the channel configuration. Adding a track and setting the channel configuration. To record audio, you must add an audio track and set up its channel configuration. The channel configuration of the track determines the channel configuration of the recorded audio file. Procedure: in the Global Track Controls area of the track list, click Add Track. Click Audio. In the Count Value field, select the number of tracks that you want to add. Open the Configuration pop-up menu, and select the channel configuration. Optional, in the Name field, enter a track name. Click Add Track. Related links: Add Track dialog, Audio. Getting the track ready for recording. RAM requirements for recording. RAM requirements for recording. Each track on which you record requires a certain amount of RAM, and the memory usage increases, the longer the recording lasts. For each audio channel, 2.4 megabytes of RAM are required for MixConsole settings, etc. The memory usage increases with the length of the recording, the sample rate, and the number of tracks you record. Consider the RAM limitation of your operating system when setting up your project for recording. Adding a track and setting the channel configuration. Selecting an input bus for the track. Selecting an input bus for the track. Before you can record on your track, you must add and set up the required input buses and specify from which input bus the track records. Procedure: in the inspector for the audio track, open the Input Routing pop-up menu. Select an input bus. Related links: setting up input and output ports. Audio bus setup. Audio track inspector. RAM requirements for recording. Audio recording. Audio recording. To record audio, use any of the basic recording methods. When you finish recording, an audio file is created in the audio folder within the project folder. In the pool, an audio clip is created for the audio file, and an audio event that plays the whole clip appears on the recording track. Finally, a waveform image is calculated for the audio event. If the recording was very long, this may take a while. Note: the waveform image is calculated and displayed during the actual recording process. This real-time calculation uses some processing power. If your processor is slow or if you are working on a CPU-intensive project, deactivate Create Audio Images during Record in the Preferences dialog, Record, Audio page. Related links: basic recording methods. Cycle recording. Selecting an input bus for the track. Audio record modes. Audio record modes. By selecting an audio record mode, you decide what happens to your recording and to any existing events on the track where you are recording. This is necessary because the tracks you record on are not necessarily empty. There may be situations where you record over existing events, especially in cycle mode. To access the record modes, select Transport Audio Record Mode. You can also access the audio record modes by clicking to the right of the audio symbol in the record mode section on the transport panel. Keep history. Existing events or portions of events that overlap with a new recording are kept. Cycle history plus replace. Existing events or portions of events that overlap with a new recording are replaced by the new recording. However, if you record in cycle mode, all takes from the current cycle recording are kept. Replace. Existing events or portions of events that overlap with a new recording are replaced by the last recorded take. Related links. Transport menu. Transport panel sections. Audio recording. Recording and effects. Recording and effects. Cubase allows you to add effects and/or EQ while recording. This is done by adding insert effects and/or making EQ settings for the input channel in the MixConsole. Important. If you record with effects, the effects become part of the audio file itself. You cannot change the effects settings after recording. When you record with effects, consider using 32-bit float or 64-bit float format. This way, the bit depth is not reduced, which means there is no risk of clipping at this stage. Also, this preserves the signal quality perfectly. If you record in 16-bit or 24-bit format, the available headroom is lower, which means clipping can occur if the signal is too loud. Audio record modes. Recording a mix of separate tracks. Recording a mix of separate tracks. You can create a down mix of separate tracks, bass drum, hi-hats, or snare, for example. To do this, select an output bus, a group bus, or an FX channel bus as an input for your recording. Procedure. Set up your separate tracks, and add a group track. For each of the drum tracks, open the output routing pop-up menu, and select the group track as the output. Create a new audio track, open the input routing pop-up menu, and select the group track as the input for this audio track. Record enable this audio track and start recording. Result. The output of the group track is recorded on the new track. This results in a mix of your separate tracks. Note. You can also select an FX channel as the recording source. In this case, only the output of the FX channel is recorded. Related links. Routing. Recording and effects. Undoing recordings.